Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Just Enough Heshy show. We've been gone a couple of weeks, and we have the holidays to thank for that. And my beautiful my grandson. I have to introduce my guest first. I'm sorry, everybody. As you know, I'm Uncle Heshy Tischler, and yes, we're going to be making an announcement about maybe running, maybe not running. But today, my handsome, good-looking father of 4, 5. What is it? Five. Thank God, because I was going to say 13 again. He does not have 13, Tom. How are you? I missed you. How are your holidays?
They were great. Mazel tov.
Thank you for the grandson, my first grandson, and fourth generation American Tischler.
Hey.
They named him Yeshua, which is Joshua Emmanuel. I don't know what the manual is. Maybe they named him after a temple. They were just passing by a synagogue. Temple Emmanuel, you know.
I'm sure there's a reason.
There's no reason.
Just love him and
I love. He's gorgeous.
You should be dancing at his wedding.
I did. We made a beautiful bris. I invited everybody to the bris. I think I invited Tom too. No, I didn't invite you, Tom. You should have come. It was gorgeous. It cost me a lot of money. And my guest tonight is Tom Ballou. Did I say it right? Blue or Ballou? How you say it?
Ballou.
Ballou. You got to talk into the mic because I want to hear you because you have a lot to talk to us.
Okay.
So, Tom, you're going to hear about Tom. He is an activist, a man who wants to make changes in America, a man who's not only done so much to... Wow, my son keeps coming out to bother us. I think because I mentioned that my grandson's name wasn't the right name, and we don't
just Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
That's it.
Yeah, my daughter-in-law is beautiful, and my grandson is beautiful, and my gorgeous 2 granddaughters are nice. But Tom, what's the name of your organization that you help people with? He's stuck now. The cameras. I don't know. There's no cameras. Don't worry about it.
Regime change for New York.
Regime change for New York. You hear that, Ezra? I mean, this is serious. He's helped so many politicians, so many races he's part of. And Tom is going to make time. We're going to ask Tom a lot of questions. We're going to have call-in numbers. You can call into the show. I hope they put it on the screen. 646-974-1582. 646-974-1582. You can ask any questions from Tom. First, we're going to ask him questions, how he's going to help everybody, and how he's going to help me. Tom was questioning me before the show that, what did you say? Oh, 1581. Mistake, everybody. 974-1582. 1582 is my private number.
No, it's not so private.
Now it's not so private. Tom, you can call anytime. 646-974-1581. We're going to ask Tom about how he's going to help, and I'm going to try to con Tom to help me with my campaign if I run.
Tom, be careful. He did that to me. I ended up in court for 4 days.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Anyways, everybody, we're going to start our show. And then we're going to do a joke and a quote. And Tom, I'm going to ask you nicely if you can laugh at the joke, because Ezra really doesn't like laughing. Every once in a while he laughs. I don't know.
You don't like making funny jokes.
I do, Ezra. You know, you just, when you want to, I don't know about
Just let's go.
I got you.
Okay.
Ezra Levy, law offices of my beautiful partner, friend, handsome, smart, Ezra Levy, or law offices, specializing in all criminal matters, including weapons possession, drug offenses, domestic violence, theft offenses, assaults, DWI, criminal and family court, orders of protection. What's that number, Ezra?
917-755-1187. That's both my private and not so private number.
917-755-1187 or Ezra Levy Law Firm at gmail.com. EZRALEVYLAWFIRM at gmail.com. Again, 917-755-1187. By the way, Tom, I call him in the middle of the night. He helps me in the middle of the night with kids. He helps people with criminal tickets. He is a man not only who cares about the community, but he has helped us, and he's brilliant. He was like, how many years as a public defender?
18 years as a public defender, 24 years as a lawyer.
Did you hear that? And he still cares about the people. Ezra, thank you so much for your thing.
My pleasure.
We're going to start the show, everybody. I'm going to do my little quote and joke, and hopefully you guys laugh, and then we're going to talk to everybody, and you can call again into the show.
646-974-1581.
Gotcha. Wow. It's the first time you're getting the phone numbers right.
I wrote
Usually,
down
I know, smart. Thank God. I practice with you. My quote of the day, and I want Tom to hear this because I want him to believe who I am. You can't have everything you want, but you should want everything you have. That's my quote. And Tom, the reason I wrote that today for you is very simple. I want to tell you that I've asked for a lot of things through my lifetime. Not so much for me, but I've helped a lot of people, children, kids, homeless people, and sometimes I haven't gotten personally gratitude, or I haven't gotten the riches that I should have been. Like Linda told me, Heshy, why don't we just stop and we can have all the money, and stop doing the programs? I said, Linda, I am happy with what I have. I wanted more. I should move. He keeps making me move. I don't know what he wants me. I lost. By the way, I lost 70 pounds.
You're melting
you don't
away.
even know that. I lost.
You're
70
melting
pounds.
away.
I am. Everybody's telling me you're handsome, Ezra, and I should start you on my diet.
I am handsome.
You are handsome.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
And
keep
if
going.
you color the hair like me, you look great.
I'm handsome.
Okay. Anyways, my dear friend Tom, I am happy with what I have. I want what I have. I'm happy with my woman of 32 years. I'm happy with my children, my foster kids, my nephews and nieces. And yes, do I want to be elected? I do want to be elected. I want to be elected, and I'll tell you why. It's time to make a change. And Tom is going to tell you why we need this change, because finally I have somebody that you're going to hear that if you think I'm crazy, Ezra, listen to what's going on. He will tell you. Here's the man on the street. But I'm going to do my little joke. We're going to laugh. I'm going to start the show. And here we go. When I first got married, to my beautiful wife of 32 years, I took Linda to a motel upstate for a honeymoon. I didn't have a lot of money like you, Ezra, so I took her for a motel honeymoon. And Linda, as a new bride, was a bit embarrassed to be known as a honeymooner. Oh, Heshy, they're going to talk about us, what we're doing. So Linda says to me, when I pulled up to the hotel, is there any way that you could make it appear that we've been married a long time? So I told Linda, sure, you carry the suitcases. That was funny. There's
good,
no way
actually.
that wasn't funny.
Actually
That was
For
funny.
you, that's a very good joke.
Okay.
Okay.
Tom, I didn't even hear a sound out of you. Oh, Tom, not a sound. I'm sending you home by bus, not by train even. And those trains are dangerous. That's why I was very angry you came by train. Anyways, we're going to throw that paper away and we're going to start our show anyways. Ezra, Tom, welcome to the show. And I want to tell everybody a little bit about Tom. Tom has worked in the financial sector dealing with proxy solicitation and corporate acquisitions. His involvement with the electoral process goes back 50 years, including much activism as well as professional involvement with both political consultants and telemarketing experts. He's been involved on a personal level with the conservative, libertarian, and Republican parties. Not Democrat, right?
I had some as a client.
Okay, but I'm a Democrat, and I know you're going to scream at me. I'm going to tell you
Yeah,
about that.
we
Over the
definitely need
years,
to scream about
he
that.
has worked with grassroots groups involving in fighting the growth of government. He's managed campaigns from school board level to congressional races. Living in New York, he allowed him the opportunity of working with candidates, in Democratic primaries. I didn't even see that, as well as Republican candidates. And he's a graduate of NYU, where he was a joint major in economic and history. And he was instructed for several years at Henry George School for Social Sciences and Economics. Wow, what a resume. And you are handsome. I forgot to tell you that, Tom. I forgot that.
I just say that to all your guests.
Tom,
Okay.
No. He tells you that's when he wants something.
And I want to tell you something, Tom, before we start with you. I am running as a Democrat. I'm an old-timer. My parents were Democrats. They loved New York. They loved America. That's the way it was back in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. And we had some good candidates, good people, from John F. Kennedy. I even loved Richard Nixon.
But Nixon was a Republican.
Yeah, I know that, but he was my father's favorite.
Yeah, but he was a good Republican.
And I was also one of, when Reagan came out, he said the Reagan Democrats.
Yeah.
I was one of them. I was one of my
Okay.
first elections that I was able to vote for Reagan.
I understand. Look, I
love-
signed up.
I
I
love-
registered as a Democrat first, also. But
Right.
the thing is, the Democratic Party of today is not the JFK Party. I'm not old enough for JFK, but okay, Bill Clinton was the first time I voted for president. I voted for Democrats in the past. It's not the same party.
I know it's not, and you know why I'm running as a Democrat, Tom? I'll tell you why. Because even if I win as a Republican, where did I meet Tom? I met him at my Republican party. I am part of a Republican group. What's it called again? We have a Republican Tea Party that we meet. It's like a.
You don't have to be a Republican to be a Republican.
They let me in. They love me. Plus they use my office.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, I'm the only one that can have 30, 40 people there, and I don't charge. But so we have a little club, a Republican club, and we meet sometimes twice a month, once a month, and we come there, discuss, and we have interesting guests that come, and we had an interesting guest, and we had Tom, they came and he spoke beautifully and he told us and he put us in our place and I was so impressed with him. I begged him to come on the show. I had to beg him, you know what I mean? I offered him a sandwich. He says, no, I don't eat, sandwiches. I want a steak. How you like this guy? Tom, here's my question to you. You're running around this city left and right. And my first question and my hardest question to you is simple. A lot of people are telling me that Zeldin has no chance. Not only that, if Zeldin is not elected, we're going to go to Hochul, and she is going to kill this state because we're downhill. Just like I told you about this before the show, with Cuomo, how we hated him, how we went against him, and how I was the first one they told everybody months before he's going to resign. I knew the secret about what he did, and we got rid of the city. And I kept telling you, I was one of the first ones to announce that he's going to resign. People didn't believe it. And what did Hochul say last night on that debate?
Oh, she wants to know why crime's so important to leave Zeldin to
Right.
New York.
Why is crime so important? And you came on the train today, am I correct?
Yes.
I don't know. You didn't see my video. I have to show it to you. But I had 5 instances over the last month where people being hit by the head on the bottle, beaten up, robbed. And I'm not saying you're an older guy, but they could look at you and just surround you. And you don't come from a good neighborhood when you're coming on the train. You're going through some tough neighborhoods. You don't even know that.
I was at the West 4th Street station. And there's often extremely violent acts committed there.
Right.
I mean, we saw that video just the other day when, out of the blue, this one guy charges this gentleman and just throws him on the tracks.
I have that on my video. I didn't show it to you. Our introduction. Is this normal? But forget about the crime. My question to you is...
Don't forget about the crime.
I'm not forgetting about the crime. But here's a man that has gotten people elected, and we're not changing this city. What is your solution? What can we do? I mean, why aren't they voting in more Republicans? Why only are there 5 Republicans or 6 Republicans in city council? That's it. That's why I can't run as a Republican. Even though if I win, what are you going to have me do this? Sit there and do nothing? Sit there and not like Ina Vernikova. I love her. I know she's one of your people and she's my friend. But what has she accomplished? On 6 people, she can't pass any major legislation. They throw her some little jokes or tidbits. I need more in there. And I believe as a Democrat, I can make some friends, get together with the Republicans, and then make changes. But again, it's not happening. And then again, I forget, I don't even want to talk about our state assembly and state senate. We need change. And you are the regime change guy. What's happening? First of all, does Zeldin have a chance?
Oh, I definitely think Zeldin's going to win the governorship.
I actually agree with him.
Really?
I actually agree with it. I mean, I'm not, I can tell you that Kathy Hochul has been running the Joe Biden type of election campaign, which is
seems to work.
Which is just stay at home, do a couple of ribbon cuttings, and that's it. And when she was she ducked debates until she had no choice. And
how do you think she did yesterday in the debate?
I congratulate her for ducking the other 4. I think that was the best campaign move she could have done. Look,
Zeldin killed it.
Yeah. The thing is this: Zeldin has to win at least 30% of the New York City vote.
Yes.
Right. So, and the thing is, New York City, even lifelong Democrats, liberal Democrats, they know that the real issues right now are: am I going to be able to go on that train and get home safely? Am I going to be able to pay for my children's needs? Am I going to be able to go to work? Am I going to be able to keep my job?
But she claims that she lowered taxes.
She hasn't.
She hasn't. She
made very clear. She's not lowering taxes.
She didn't.
She's not lowering taxes. Her party's only raising taxes. New York City is the highest tax state in the country.
So, Tom, tell us.
I mean, we've got a city that New York City is pretty much bankrupt.
It's gone. And New York City's got bankrupt, and the thing is, people are leaving. And you know what? When your bosses are leaving, you don't have a job. You're going to vote the people who made your life miserable out.
Zeldin made the point that New York leads the nation in terms of people leaving the state. Hochul herself made on the campaign trail said, "Well, Republicans don't like it here.
Leave.
Go to Florida."
Yeah.
Is she stupid?
And then she says, "I can't understand why people would want to go to Florida."
I want you to know my club president, Glenn, a very nice man. I don't want to say his last name. He sent me a comment today, and I just laughed. He says, "This is not the big apple, it's the rotting apple."
It is.
You believe that? And it bothers me because I love this city. I know you live in Long Island, but I grew up here. I fought for this city. I go fight for the synagogues, the schools, the people, the tenants, the children. And I can't believe that people are going to run away and leave us when we took so long to build this place, build these communities, and you're just going to give it away.
The sad thing is, what our group has encountered is that there is tremendous apathy people, I agree. Even most of rank and file Democrats, I believe, are common sense Democrats, but they've got nobody in their party to stand up and speak for them. I mean, years ago, you had like a Mario Procaccino. You had Mario Biaggi. You had these law and order type Democrats. They don't exist anymore. Now we have lawless Democrats who make a mockery of the idea of rule of law and who are more interested in championing lawbreakers than,
They're not even hiding anymore. You got Tiffany Caban types people in the city council.
Yeah.
I mean, then nobody's hiding it anymore.
They voted in Tiffany. But here's my question. The governor said, Lee Zeldin said yesterday on the debate, I will fire or suspend Bragg. Is that possible? Now, you are, as an electoral guy who helps people get elected, I'm not saying you like Bragg, but if you would have had somebody elected and the governor doesn't like him, would you allow it?
Yes.
I'm not talking personally.
Bragg?
Not personally, I'm talking...
No.
Okay.
Yeah, Bragg made it very clear when he was elected, when he campaigned and when he was elected, that he was not going to enforce certain laws here in New York State. As a result, we have near anarchy in Manhattan. Yes, the governor, under the state constitution, is within his power to remove Bragg.
But the thing, you're right about it, because just legally speaking, okay, there is one problem with it. He has to actually make findings, and to do it on day one is a little too premature, if you ask me. I mean, he's going to do it anyway.
Oh, I'm sure Bragg will give him ample reason to do it.
He's going to do it. No, Alvin Bragg has been a better defense attorney than most defense attorneys I know, and a terrible district attorney for the people of New York County. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. And we have to be honest. Any honest politician is going to tell you that. But the problem is coming in day one and saying this is the first thing we're going to do. And I believe he's going to. I think, two things leads.
But he can't fire him. According to what I read under the Constitution, he can only suspend him or the mayor for 30 days, and then he can go through the process.
And they'll fire. But he's going to remove him. He'll name someone else.
He could do that?
He's going to have to.
So then what's the election process worth?
Well, that's the whole question. That's why it's very hard to do. It's been done before, but it's very hard to do. I mean, DeSantis did the same thing down in Florida recently. It's very hard to do because you are basically taking the will of the people away from the voters of New York County.
What's your opinion, Tom?
One of the problems in Manhattan, and it's truly ground zero for insanity. But these people live in a vacuum.
Tom, I agree with you.
What happened was
many people should be disenfranchised because they don't know what they're doing.
Bragg won by a landslide. I think he got like 87% of the vote.
Because he got Soros
now
money.
Some of them are starting to wake up. Instead of having this knee-jerk reaction to vote for the most left-wing Democrat that they can find, now there's some regret. There's some websites, I'm trying to think of the name of it, where community people go on and they discuss what's going on in their neighborhoods. And a good friend of mine refers to them as libtards.
Okay, yeah.
She follows the conversations. She thinks they're insane. But the drift in the last couple of weeks has been, wow, crime has gotten really bad here in the city. They're actually starting to open their eyes.
I think everybody has. The problem is...
And people are starting to say, well, maybe we should vote for Zeldin. Maybe that's the choice.
Again, I think that, that's... when Tom says Zeldin's going to win, I agree with him because I think Zeldin's going to get more than 30% of New York City votes. It's going to be, obviously he's going to carry Richmond County. He's probably going to carry a healthy part of Queens County. Yeah. And he'll, some parts of the Bronx, some parts of Manhattan.
They're saying the Jewish vote is one of the most important parts.
It's very critical. And this is very critical.
But all of the Democratic leaders, and I'm embarrassed to tell you, all of them, everybody in this neighborhood, Ballpark, Flatbush, Midwood, all came out and stood next to Kathy Hochul. Of course they will. But nobody came out for Lee Zeldin except for one young man. One nice politician came out. Nobody did. We got hundreds of supporters there, but I was shocked that the politicians came out to kiss because I know personally from meetings, and I had taped conversations that came out of her private meetings that she promised not only our lobbyists millions and millions of dollars, but some private funding for a lot of big organizations, which I don't want to get in trouble with. And this is what they are. We are bought and paid for.
Since Kathy Hochul's become governor, she has been on a spending spree, buying support all over the state from that god-awful stadium up there in Buffalo.
Yeah.
It's going to be a nice stadium. It's just the problem is we should be paying for it. No, it's going to be a stadium. No, again, it's going to be a state-of-the-art football stadium. It's going to bring in revenue for Buffalo. The thing is, taxpayers should be footing the bill, especially it's right now.
None
of us can afford to put food on the table.
I mean, it's the epitome of corporate welfare.
Of course it is. It's also, let's remember her husband stands to make a lot of money. Her husband and the company.
Yeah, but we say that about Nancy Pelosi too, and nobody does anything.
But actually, it means a lot. It means a lot when it's the one person who makes a decision. In New York State, it's not like It's not like the assembly sits as an assembly, makes it and votes, and the Senate sits as an assembly and votes, and then there's a compromise bill that gets to the governor's office. In New York State, there's only 3 people who decide the law, what goes on in New York State: the governor, the state Senate leader, and the Speaker of the Assembly. So you have only 3 people make all the decisions in the state.
You can't even bring legislation up.
Whether you have a governor who's a Democrat or a governor who's a Republican. So until that changes, there's always going to be corruption.
Now you've got the situation too from Cuomo, and then she inherited it with the emergency powers.
That's always been a constitution.
Yeah.
Thankfully, yesterday
the state legislature has virtually yielded control to the state.
I've been saying that for over a year, and actually, yesterday there was a decision that came out in Richmond County attacking Adams and his health
Judge Porzio's decision.
But it's the same idea. We have a separation of power in this state, this city, this country, and executive powers are limited. Only the legislature could legislate.
Right.
And to touch back, and it's the same thing. Zelda's also said day one he's going to declare an emergency because of a crime emergency, and repeal the bail law. Hey, it sounds great. It's going to be unconstitutional. If you ask me.
I disagree.
I
wouldn't want him to do it that way. I want it done, but
the best way to do it is the same way it became law.
But he can't do anything with a Democratic state assembly and a Democrat.
You have to understand how this thing. Bail reform came into law for one reason. It was part of a budget package. It wasn't a separate package. It was part of the budget package. Actually, Andrew Giuliani, when he was running, said the same thing. I'm going to make it. I'm not going to sign a budget package that doesn't include a repeal of the.
Very good.
That's what Andrew Giuliani was saying.
So how do you fire Bragg? I'm not going to sign a package.
No. Firing Bragg is separate than getting rid of the bail reform.
Well, this brings our group, regime change for New York.
Yeah, before you do that, I want to ask you a question. So you are now working, not only are you working across the state or only in the city?
We started off here in the city. What happened was a group of us, when this insanity descended upon New York State, and they were in, first with the masks, then with the social distancing, and then it escalated up to the mandatory vaccines and threatening people's livelihoods and their businesses. A group of us last year got tired of some of these groups that would meet and basically boiled down to being nothing but therapy sessions. So we wanted action. There was a small group of us. We targeted 3 city council races here in New York City. Ina Vernikoff, Joanne Areola in Queens, and Brian Fox in Brooklyn. 2 of them we won. Very comfortable margin. We were very involved with Ina's campaign and with Joanne's campaign. And Brian Fox, on election day, won the election. But when the absentee ballots came in, he lost.
How could that be? How could that be?
The Democrats were very well organized. It's not. I don't even think it's not even a question of fraud. The Republican Party really needs to rebuild itself from the grassroots.
Should there be absentee ballots? Can we just get rid of that? People don't come to the polls. You don't get elected.
But you have
there's 2 types. I'm sorry, can I just say? There's 2 types of absentee ballots. There's the traditional absentee ballots.
The out of the country military. I got that.
Military and diplomats. And people are out of the country. With COVID, absentee ballots became I'm too lazy to go to the polling site, and and without me even asking for it, I'm getting a ballot mailed to me.
The Democrats mailed out to every Democrat in the city. They already had it checked off. Right. The reason was COVID. Right. All you had to do was sign it, send it in, and you get an absentee ballot sent to you.
So that's and what they have done that is going to be changed is now that if you present if you go to you can't I think they're supposed to do some changes. You can't do an absentee ballot and go to the polling site and drop it off, or once you go to polling site, your absentee ballot's automatically voided because there was no safeguards the last time around.
Yeah.
That was the problem. There were no safeguards. Look, I'm not saying New York, for the New York City election, I don't think it made a difference. To be honest with you, I don't think there was fraud. I think the problem is the R word, Republican, is almost like a 4-letter word in New York City politics.
Yeah.
So you tell me now that you've been getting these people elected, have you expanded your regime change for New York?
Yes. What happened was we didn't even have a name. We were just these anonymous volunteers who show up and approach candidates. And our focus was on a constitutional libertarian. Are you in favor of mandates? Are you in favor of emergency powers? Will you work to strip them? I can't complain. I mean, Ina has done a good job in terms of presenting our issue. So has Joanne. Brian was very outspoken during his city council race. This year, what I tried to do...
Why isn't Ina fighting the mandate? She still wears her mask. She doesn't speak up. Yes, she has other issues she's dealing with. She hasn't told, the governor said, I'm not removing the mandates for kids in school. I'm taking a break for now. I don't know if I'm going to bring it back. That is dumb. And Ina has not said a word about it. She hasn't got up in the city.
Ina's in city council. She really can't control.
She can fight the city council and the city.
Well,
city rule overrides state.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
Absolutely doesn't. No. Actually, it doesn't.
I know it doesn't override the
Legally
state
speaking,
law,
it doesn't.
but she and the city council can get together and say, listen, guys,
we're
not going to let you...
The one thing Eric Adams has actually tried to do is get rid of bail reform. Okay, that's the one thing he's tried to do, and was shot down by Heshy.
So again to you. So now you're expanding...
Okay. Well, what we do is I look at races. I try to assess whether the candidate is credible, whether they're like a wing nut, or if they're serious. Do they have the resources? I look at the voting history of the districts. We targeted several seats because one thing people have to understand, even if Lee Zeldin's elected governor, right now the Democrats have supermajorities in the state assembly and the state senate.
So they'll be able to override any veto.
Any veto, exactly.
They can?
Yeah.
They have right now.
State Senate, I don't think they have a majority like you think.
Majority
They do.
both. Right now they do.
Yeah.
They have a stupid majority.
And do you think we have enough people?
I think there's a good chance that, certainly with the state Senate, I think we can cut down the margin. I know there's efforts all around the state. Out in Nassau County, I think they're going to take down 3 sitting Democratic state senators. Here in Brooklyn, I'm focused on the Vito LaBella race in the 17th district. There's no incumbent there. It's an interesting district. Vito is running a very active campaign. We're looking at assembly races. We're very involved with over in Staten Island. A Democratic seat opened up. The incumbent was not running. We got behind Sam Pirazzolla, who was not the Republican Party choice. He was a Conservative Party choice. We basically were his entire campaign during the primary, and we won by a 2-1 margin, and the party organization was shocked. Sam, I expect we're still hammering away there. I think we're going to win in November. Here in Brooklyn, we've been working for Dmitry Kugel.
Dmitry Kugel. Go ahead.
We've been very involved with Dmitry. There are 2 other races. If I had the manpower, and that's one of the reasons I'm coming on your show
Do you have
tonight.
a website?
We don't have a website.
So how do we reach you? How do we volunteer?
We have an email address.
Yeah.
It's regime change.
Spell it.
REGIME CHANGE 4 FORNY @gmail.com.
So guys, REGIME CHANGE @gmail.com. If you want to volunteer for candidates anywhere, you call, you email Tom Ballou, and you will get back to them right away?
Well, most definitely. We have 2 other races we'd love to drop manpower in. That's Michael Novikov.
Michael Novikov. He owns the radio station, the Russian radio station.
Yes.
And he's running for assembly, am I correct?
Yes, he's running in, I believe, the 45th district.
45th district.
And then there's Alex Brook-Kazny, who was a former Democratic assemblyman. He has switched parties. I had a conversation with him. He said, I grew up in the Soviet Union. He says, I see what's happening in this country.
Who is Alex running against?
He's running, it's not Abate, that's Chang who's running there.
It's not it's a Brooklyn?
It's a Brooklyn, it's an incumbent, but I think he has an excellent chance of picking up that seat.
Are you focusing on any, say, there are conservative areas on the outskirts, right? So you have Breezy Point, that area, Howard Beach area, Queens. Yeah. So those are traditionally conservative base citizens, even if they're voting Democrats.
I actually, years ago, I ran Joanne Ariola's campaign for the state assembly when she ran back in '96.
I think we're getting a call. Producer, are we getting a call? I was expecting a call. Again, before we take the call, regime change for ny@gmail.com.
Go
ahead.
Yeah. It is a very conservative area. Matter of fact, the Conservative Party line can outpoll, and Breezy Point can outpoll the Democrats.
Exactly.
But, I mean, it's a lot further. I mean, the far end of the peninsula is very heavily Democratic. Yeah.
But the far end of the peninsula, again, I think we're focusing too much on labeling people as Democrats and Republicans. And, it's, I think you have a lot of voters, especially right now, who even if they vote Democrat, are not going to vote against their interests anymore.
There is a candidate running there, but like I say, we look at the type of campaign that this person had a record. I was not impressed when he ran for state senator 2 years ago. Okay. It's a shame because I thought he could have won against Octobe.
Okay. And my other question is,
I think I could have beat Feld if I got on the ballot. And I really do, because he's nowhere to be found. I take videos of him, how he doesn't show up to office. He stands there and screams, all I have is a key for the bathroom.
No, but again, but the thing is, you have the power of, this is probably the first time the incumbents can't rely on being incumbents anymore. Right? Because
there are
their record stinks now.
Now, one of the things I wanted to do, because we're not strictly a Republican group.
Right.
I mean, yes, my background is pretty right-wing, but I'd work with anybody on these particular issues. We're focused on the mandates and stripping the governor of emergency powers.
Yeah.
I wanted to
and
run
the mayor's emergency powers.
I want to run candidates in Democratic primaries, and I'm open to anybody who's talking about being a serious candidate for city council next year.
I love you. Oh, wow. Did I say how handsome Tom is looking? Wow, you are just hot. I'm buying you a sandwich.
So, Tom, I guess two questions. You mentioned resources. Is that financial or...
Manpower as well as financial.
So I mean, traditionally, people don't. Republicans don't spend a lot of money on New York City campaigns.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why they
usually can't raise.
And that's why usually they don't even put a candidate on the lines.
Unfortunately, there are times.
Do we have a call? Abraham, he doesn't listen to me. Do we have a call from Lenny? I think Lenny was supposed to be on the call. He's on the phone.
Here.
Lenny,
I'm here.
Tom, I want to introduce you to Lenny the cop. Lenny is the most right-winged, loved.
He's not the most right-wing.
He's not the most right.
He's the most loved.
He's the most loved. Lenny, I want to introduce you to Tom, who has been running around this state, getting people, and he thinks like you. And I told him, I warned him, and you're going to start screaming at us. Do you hear what Tom is talking about? What do you have to say to us,
Tim? I say God bless him. He mentioned something about Krugel. I thought that was a Jewish dessert. I got to say, I loved your opening joke. I thought it was funny.
You're the only good man.
And I got a compliment on Ira because said...
Ezra.
I'm sorry. I must be thinking of Ira in the borough. But, Ezra, you brought up the fact that Hochul's husband makes money. Isn't he connected with the concession stand at Buffalo Stadium?
He's either I'm not sure if it's either the law firm he represents has the contract, or he belongs to or he works as in-house for the company.
Yes, this is something that I've heard time and time
again.
It's 100% accurate.
It's 100% accurate.
When is New York is going to wake up? When are they going to... all she did last night in that debate was mention Donald Trump. Okay?
And illegal guns. And illegal guns.
But what about the legal guns? You want to stop me from going into Times Square? I was a cop for 30 years. I have a legal firearm on me. I'm not the one that's going to shoot somebody. It's the people with the illegal guns. She says she's on there with 7 other states stopping the gun flows coming into New York. How do you stop a person pulling up in a Nissan or a Toyota, running into these places, buying 3 or 4 guns, and driving them back to New York?
Well, Lenny, listen to this. What did Hochul say during the debate?
Okay, so
what did Hochul say during the debate? We don't care, right?
No, but look, New York liberals, okay, only have 2 things that they're going to try to push on you with this, right? Is that Zeldin's going to get rid of abortions, which is not accurate, or two, everybody and their grandmother's going to be able to walk out with a gun, which honestly is not the worst thing if they're legal guns and they're lawful citizens, because this country was founded on the Second Amendment. I mean, and Lenny's right. Lenny is trained, is 30 years on the force, was it? Why should he?
Yeah. Do you know how hard they're making it now for retired police officers to carry a firearm?
I spoke to a retired detective as a security guard. He told me it's crazy for him right now.
Lenny, I mean, Lenny, 1 minute. Tom, what is your opinion? I mean, you heard what Lenny says. I mean, this is a man who's served this, like he said, 30 years a cop, a man who's honorable, who cares about this city, and he just, Well,
I'm a firm believer in the Second Amendment. As Pat Buchanan once said, do you need a truck to carry it?
You don't have to quote Pat Buchanan.
but, I mean, if we remember our former mayor...
Police,
Bloomberg,
by the way, are you a supporter or non-supporter?
Of the Second Amendment?
No, the police.
I support our local police. I'm opposed to the idea of...
Oh, you mean unlike Max Rose? You mean unlike Max Rose?
Unlike
who's
Max
trying
Rose.
to win over Staten Island when he marched?
Let me tell you, he's going over like a lead balloon.
Oh, please, that little man that he is. That little man. His troops. What troops? What troops? Listen, my son's in the Army now, and I'm proud of him. But for Christ's sake, you served? Is that all you're going to say? It's like Hochul saying Donald Trump every 5 minutes.
Yeah, really? I want to ask Tom.
What are you doing about the crime? What are you doing about you can't go on a subway train?
Tom said that. I want to ask Tom.
I have a question for Lenny.
Okay.
Why is crime so important to you?
Why is listen? Listen. Let me tell you something. I live in a nice place. I thought in Staten Island. When yesterday, where I have 4 children. The last 2 of my children went to Tottenville High School. Let me tell you something, pals. When you start seeing shooting over here in Staten Island at Tottenville High School, Mr. Mayor Adams, you got a problem. You better stop dressing like John Gotti, and you better stop partying like J-Lo, and you better do something about what's going on in this city.
Agreed.
What are you going to do by putting cameras on every subway car?
Agreed.
That's after the fact. NYPD detectives are doing an excellent job in catching these people without the cameras that you're going to install. It's smoke and mirrors, my friend. It's smoke and mirrors.
It's for tickets. It's just for tickets.
The people of New York City. It's time to put a damn Republican in office and stop this BS.
Agreed.
I love you,
Agreed,
Lenny.
Lenny.
I want to ask Tom. Tom, now it's your turn. Explain to us, Tom, plain and simple. First of all, Trump. Let's bring that up. Let's get it over with. She keeps bringing up Trump. Trump is a bad guy. Trump is an idiot.
Well, the Democrats are fixated on this idea that Trump is going to win them elections. I think it's because they live in this bubble that they don't realize that Trump, there's a groundswell toward Trump and certainly toward the Republican Party. I mean, the way, things have been going, we've got basically the FBI has been turned into a political police force.
Didn't you tell me you would love to defund the FBI?
Defund the FBI.
Why?
I mean, they've turned their back on enforcing. I mean, we have pro-life centers that have been bombed here in this state and in other states
Around the country.
The FBI is not interested. The Justice Department is
J.
not
Edgar
interested.
Hoover's dead. J. Edgar Hoover's dead. The FBI ain't what it used to be.
No,
please.
J. Edgar Hoover was also a political hack. But I mean, the thing, that's my question is this: you want to get rid of the FBI? I'm not sure. I agree. Getting rid of the FBI needs a tremendous overhaul,
cleaning.
cleaning.
Yeah.
But we do need a federal police agency, don't we?
I don't think so.
Really?
No.
I love you.
I
let him say it. I gotta hear
I'm
this.
going to play devil's advocate.
Stop.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Heshy, you opened the show with a joke. How about the joke that Hochul told last night? Everybody in this room or that's listening now goes to a supermarket. She was asked directly if she would vote for Biden again, and she says he's doing an excellent job. Our oil is being drained from our reserves. You can't go into the supermarket and almost pay end. We slept better as a nation at night. He went to North Korea and actually walked into that DMZ zone or whatever you want to call it. Let's call it what it is. It's time we voted right in this country. Stop bringing up Donald Trump. You gotta stop what's going on in this city, and it's time to change over. She's nothing but a Cuomo leftover.
I agree. This is one more thing I could just say.
Lenny, I love you.
The Democrats are invested in attacking Trump and screaming for abortion rights, and it's not going to win them in November.
I have one question.
So, woman, do you believe the red wave? Do you believe the red wave is coming?
Yes, I do.
We will take over the Senate and the House?
Definitely the House. I do believe we're going to take the Senate.
So one question.
Forget the Senate. Do you believe we'll get the House?
Easily.
And Pelosi's gone.
Oh, Pelosi's definitely, and she realizes it too. That's why she's...
Well, she's 90 years old. She's almost as old as Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh,
so one question for you. Okay, you mentioned the Senate is up for grabs. I agree with you. Mm-hmm. There's one race that nobody's focused on. It's here in New York State. It's here in New York State.
You know,
Joe Pinion is running a great campaign, but he's not getting anything out there.
I know. Well,
and because there's no money. So that's my question to you when I said resources. Because you have actually a very strong candidate who's polished, and he checks some of the traditional Democratic boxes. He's the first African American. He stands to be the first African American senator voted from the state of New York.
I watched him the other
and he's
day
very
speak.
polished, but he's conservative.
Mm-hmm.
He's very conservative. He's young. He's African American, and he's conservative. Right. So this is the type of people. This is the type of candidate that I had to give Kevin McCarthy a lot of credit.
I see this woman who's a LaRouchian. She's getting more media attention than he is.
So my question to you is, why isn't Joe Pinion getting the groundswell that from either the Conservative Party or Republican parties? Or I'm not saying your organization necessarily. But you know what I'm saying? But why isn't he getting that support? Because Chuck Schumer has been the least effective senator for the state of New York ever since he became the Senate Majority Leader.
Chuck Schumer is...
He's a hack.
I could tell you Chuck Schumer...
He's a hack.
Chuck Schumer, he knows how to do politics.
He knows how to front a camera in front...
Exactly. Years ago, I was telling you, when I ran Joanne's campaign back in '96, she was running against Audrey Pfeffer. And Audrey Pfeffer put on this bogus press conference about the noise pollution from the airport and such. Who crashes it? Who's then a United States congressman from the area? Chuck Schumer. And Schumer just comes in, takes over, hijacks the whole thing, turns around and starts scolding Audrey, who's a fellow Democrat. Well, Audrey, you haven't done what needs to be done. She looked like she wanted to strangle him. And when he's on his way out, I had gone there just to observe what was going on. And there had been an article in John F. Kennedy Jr.'s magazine, George, and which they referred to as being shoomed when he does this. And I said, Congressman, is that an example of being shoomed? And he just smiled. He goes, shoom, 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 and ran out the door.
You bring up a valid point. You say Schumer knows how to run the politics. When are the people of New York State going to realize that we should be running the politicians? If they're not doing the job that we elected them to do, vote them out. Vote them out.
Every so often there's an eruption here in New York.
Right.
Well, it's time.
What happens? The Republican Party has been. I mean, I remember back in the days when it was a liberal organization. It was a Rockefeller, Javits.
It still is. It still is.
Now it's totally inept and ineffective.
Yeah, but it's a reactive. It's a reactive organization. Yeah. There's one other election. There's one other state election. It's Attorney General.
Yes.
Can I say one other thing? My old sergeant, he works in Schumer's synagogue downtown Brooklyn.
Park Slope, yeah.
And he always asks me about me, when I carry my firearm, I don't go to the supermarket without it. And here's the point I'm going to bring up. Right by Methodist Hospital, like 7th Avenue, there's a Rite Aid. Now, my old sergeant's name is Chino, and he tells me an old man went into that Rite Aid, and he was mugged, and they beat the hell out of that old man, okay? Now, I'm not maybe that old, but can you imagine if it was me and I was kicked to the ground, stitches in my head? At least I have my firearm if I have to pull it out to defend myself. And even then, I don't know if I have that right to stop me from getting beat up, because that's the mindset of what good citizens think about. You know, do I have the right to defend myself? And it's crazy. The criminals with all the rights, the Metro cards, the everything they're giving them, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Lenny, I want to thank you, but I want to just tell you, you're right, and I want to tell this to you, Tom. When I was going through, I was arrested by the mayor and the governor, and I was fighting. So I had a couple of Black Lives Matters guys fight with me on the street, and then they found where I lived, and they came to my house, and they attacked me.
I remember.
And they attacked me.
I remember.
Of course, he went to jail for a few hours, and they let him go. No bail. They let him go. I got a call about 2 weeks ago from not the prosecutor, the district attorney, but the federal prosecutor, a federal
US
prosecutor.
Attorney's Office.
And I said, "What do you want from me?" He said, "We want your evidence and your videotapes. We can't find it." I said, "1 minute, you let the guy go now? What happened?" "Well, he attacked 2 other people, so now we're doing it on a federal level." I said, "Do you think I'm even going to help you? You let him go after he beat me up a June to my house, and now you're going to go after me. Who did he beat up? What big name is coming to help you, to threaten you?"
Wait a second.
Well, here's another question for the 3 of you. For the 3 of you there, is it only me, or do you agree with me when I say people of color are now demanding, where is the police presence?
100%.
Always.
Right.
They
You
always
not see
wanted
the
But by the way,
change?
they always have.
Let him answer.
I used to,
More so now.
But they always have. I used to go speak at. I used to speak to tenant groups in Red Hook. They always have asked for police presence.
I let me try to rephrase that. It's I think more on TV news now that you see the people of color saying they want more police, as opposed to when George Floyd happened and they wanted to defund and get rid of the police.
Well,
I think the tide has changed.
Let me tell you something. I saw many Black Lives Matter rallies, and there were not that many blacks there. It was mostly white college kids.
White liberals.
It's the lady with the gray hair and glasses that lives on the Upper East Side, and it's the professors in the colleges that are teaching our young people who are white with the tattoos all on their wrists and stuff like that, going out, nothing wrong with tattoos, but are going out there and protesting when you see more white people than you see people of color.
Lenny, I love you. Good night. We're going to take another call. I love you, Lenny. You better come and have dinner with me.
Shabbat shalom, baby.
We love you, Lenny. So just one question. Mark Henry, does he have a chance?
I hope so.
No,
Who's Mark Henry? Tell me, who's Mark Henry?
Is the Republican candidate for Attorney General.
I ran into him. He was campaigning in Staten Island. Nobody from the party with him except a very low person, low echelon type person. They were walking at Mount Loretta, and I wouldn't even known it was him. He came up. I mean, we had more of an entourage with our assembly candidate than he had.
It's that bad.
Yeah.
That bad.
I have no idea why the phone is ringing in the middle of the show. Anyways, so that very interesting. Now, again, Ezra interrupted you. I believe the FBI needs a house cleaning. I believe ICE needs a house cleaning.
Well, let's look at Justice Department. The other day, they convicted a kid, 23 years old, and sentenced him to 3.5 years for sitting in Pence's seat in the U.S. Senate. Right. Meanwhile, there are 2 lawyers, recent graduates of NYU, who firebombed New York police vehicles. They got 2 years.
Well, there's two different things. First of all, let's be honest. What's a New York City, judge who was probably. You have to look at who your judges are, as opposed to D.C. D.C.'s 100%. Both of them are very democratic cities. So judges are also politicians, even if they have lifetime appointments. But the thing is, I mean, I'm going to play devil's advocate. You want to get rid of the FBI. You want to get rid of ICE. You want to get rid of all the federal agencies. Who's going to?
I didn't say I didn't want to get rid of ICE. I'm talking about the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I'd like the services broken up and dispersed to other agencies.
But the thing is, who's going to? We do need a federal police agency.
I don't think we do.
We have the Secret Service. We have
the Secret Service is a Treasury Department.
No. They also do other stuff.
Treasury Department investigations.
It's the Treasury Department. These are correct.
I know that
Treasury Department investigation. Okay, but the thing is, there are federal crimes that states have no jurisdiction to prosecute.
I think we have another caller on the line. Hello? Do we have another caller?
You do. It's Christopher Messina from Messy Times.
Oh, this is my favorite good man. Christopher has Messy Times in Florida. This is one of your people, my dear friend Tom. He is intelligent, smart, and he knows exactly what we're talking about. Say hello to Tom. He's trying to help us get us Republican like you.
Absolutely. How you doing, Tommy?
How you do?
Fantastic. It's funny because being raised native New Yorker and having moved to the last free state in America, our government here rewards us when we kill gutter scum.
Well, I think you have a sheriff who says that he actually give you lessons on how to do it.
Oh, we got multiple sheriffs. My sheriff here, he told me now that you got a concealed carry permit in my county, you're part of the $5 club. I said, what's that? He said, if I run into you and I ask you to show me your gun and you don't have it, you owe me $5.
Chris? What do you think about Tom? What do you think about? Look how Tom is fighting from the ground up for the regime change in New York. I mean, he's fighting hard. I mean, are you laughing at us, or you think we have a shot?
I sincerely hope people wake up. I don't know how much worse it has to get in the former Empire State for people to pay attention. Voter turnout is horrendous, and then I hear people moan at me for another 2 to 4 years that things suck. I don't know what it takes to get people up into the voting booth.
Well, that's the problem. I think the Democrats have made it very easy for their party to vote by just literally mailing in pre-form ballot, pre-certified ballots that it's COVID related. Well, the Republicans,
but there's no excuse. Look what Tom did. Tom got Republicans to win in heavy Democratic areas.
I'm saying
good job, Tom. You're my hero.
The rest of the party waits until election day and expects us to go out and vote.
Problem too is people on our side, because I'll talk to people and I say, what's the use of voting? They're going to steal the election anyway.
Well,
that's painful.
Hold on, is that true?
No, I don't agree with that at all.
I don't think anybody stole the election on election day. I think they stole the election way before election day. But the thing is, voter apathy, guys, Bill de Blasio for 8 years. It has. Voter apathy.
So, Tom, what's the big things that you're seeing that are actually going to be helpful to turn this around? Because that sort of apathy drives me crazy. People say I'm not going to vote because they're going to steal it. That's nuts.
I mean, we have so much at stake here in New York. I mean, it's advanced to the point where we actually had the governor and the attorney general are appealing the decision against setting up quarantine camps here in New York State. God. I mean, the courts gave her an easy out, and she should have just let the issue die. But now they're pushing.
Well, that's because anything that goes against executive power for somebody who thinks she's entitled to be the state executive. We're talking about an unelected governor.
How could anyone have watched that debate and not thought that she's just like the weird offspring of a river troll? No, she's bizarre.
She's actually she look, to me she reminds me of Nancy Pelosi, just 10 years younger. But the thing is, the bottom line is, we live in a state that she had. She started off with a 20-point lead. And right now it's a dead heat, but she started with a 20-point lead because
it's insane.
We're seeing that with Democrats all around the country. Fetterman was running away with it
until he had to speak.
What about what do you guys say about the most important race with Dr. Oz?
That's Fetterman. That's what he's
Fetterman.
I watched that last night, and I was like, my favorite part was the Looney Tunes on Twitter, who apparently, if you criticize someone for not being capable of doing their job, you're this thing called ableist. I was like, that's fascinating. So do you want the point guard of the Knicks to have no legs and arms, but gosh, he wants to play, and it's offensive not to let him? I mean, what are you talking about? The man can't process language. Chris, that's all senators do.
Chris, I have a question for you. Maybe you know this better than I do. Is there a Democrat or Republican governor in Pennsylvania?
Democrat governor.
It's Democrat. So that theoretically, Fetterman could win and then just not take his seat because of medical reasons, and then we'll have a
Democrat with a point.
He'll be appointed, and they'll keep the seat.
Right.
Wow.
Possible. I hope
that's
people
the best
wake
case
up.
scenario for the Democrats because Fetterman would get removed within a week.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, politicians,
I'm taking
what I
great
find,
hope of the fact that Biden's actually gone into the state to campaign for him.
Right.
I think that's a plus.
well, that'll help. That'll help us a lot.
And
Yeah.
by the way, Melendez in New Jersey is supposedly under investigation once again. So so we'll see what
here's what I find so disgusting and crazy, right? Is look, we're all used to politicians lying. That's fine, right? But it's usually said a little stuff. But Fetterman claiming that he's always been for fracking?
Yeah, I know.
It's madness.
But wait, but he did say he in the same sentence he said he was against it. So.
It's just, it's just, I don't know how the country has gotten to this point where so many qualified people will not put up with this nonsense. And this is the clown. First off, he's already the lieutenant governor, which is insane enough. But they're going to send this knucklehead off to the Senate? And why would they replace him? He's Schumer's dream. He can't talk. He'll just vote. Well, Perfect.
Schumer's going to lose. Well, no, Schumer's, I mean, technically, I think you have about 40% of the U.S. Senate is unqualified. But, on both sides of the aisle, they should be, in old age homes, to be honest with you. But, I think you have somebody who's carrying an important seat.
I want to ask all of you a question. We're coming to the end of the show. And, Chris, I want to start with you. Carrie Lake, what are your chances? I mean, her opponent.
Love her. I give her a 65% chance of winning.
Really? What do you say?
I think she's running away with it.
She's going to run away, even though everybody's saying no.
Her Democratic opponent is running like a Biden-type campaign.
Yes, exactly.
She's an idiot. She's hiding.
I know. Whenever I've heard her speak, she sounds like a moron.
She sounds like an idiot. When they asked her, tell me something about that you've learned from the Latino community, and she's sitting there going, well, and I'm yelling at the TV, just say tacos! Say tacos!
I don't think she'd win that one.
But Ezra, do you think she's got it?
I think Lake's going to win it. I think Lake has it. I think, but it's
and Tudor Dixon also.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not going to make it's not going to make it's not going to make a real difference.
What? She's governor of a state
but the thing is,
governor of a state that cheated. I mean, I know you're saying
that's the problem. The thing is, you need to change the Senate in Arizona right now.
I got you.
I think that's a much more.
And lastly, as you know, during the COVID thing, I paid my employees. I didn't take no PPC or PPE money. PPP, whoever cares. And I made sure my people had paid. I made sure that they were able to work from home and come into the office. Now the New York Supreme Court reinstates all employees fired for being unvaccinated and ordering back pay. You know how much money this is coming out to be? We told you all along this is the way it is. And what? Now, are they going to appeal it? Are they?
100%.
What?
100% they're going to appeal it.
There's no way.
Of course they will. These totalitarian clowns can't stand their power being challenged.
And the thing is, you have to understand something. You have a judge you have a conservative judge out in Staten Island. When you're going to get down in front of you're going to get the second department, you're going to have Como and Hochul appointees. It's look, they're career Democrats, and you need 4 judges are going to make, on the court, on the second department is going to make the decision, and that's going to go up to the Court of Appeals, where they're all Cuomo appointees.
Wow.
So who knows what's going to happen?
Chris,
I think it's going to be upheld.
We're winding down, Chris. We have one more show before the election, but basically your opinion, Senate and the House. What's your opinion? I mean, you're talking. My friend Tom here says we're going to clean up.
We're going to clean up. Beyond that, I want you to watch this space because I am challenging the Federal Election Commission to come after me the way they went after Citizens United, because my book is coming out next week about the federal budget, and I am specifically mailing copies to the Federal Election Commission telling that I'm stumping for a Republican, and I hope to God they take the bait and try to come after me. I'm going to be a hero.
Wow, you are you always were my hero, and you're a good man.
Those illegal, unconstitutional clowns.
Chris,
we're going to win.
How many Senate seats are the Republicans going to pick up?
Senate seats? I think we're gonna end up with 54.
Wow,
that's the largest number I've ever heard.
Wow.
Yep, I think so. People are fed up. I moved from New York to America, and normal Americans don't pay attention to politics until they're really irritated, and the idiocy of plumbers and cops and everyone else paying off student loans to some brat making $120,000 a year who just wants to go to Coachella this year just driven people nuts.
But the thing
they're going to come vote like you can't believe.
Are there 4 viable seats for them to flip? I mean, honestly.
What's that, sorry?
Are there 4 viable seats right now to be flipped?
I think so.
Which ones? I mean, you have Arizona and you have Pennsylvania.
Right.
No,
Yes,
but
those two.
I hear what's his name again from Florida, the senator.
And Georgia, right? Warnock seat.
Georgia.
Yeah, and Herschel Walker is going to take it. I don't care what
Herschel Walker's
people
running the
say.
worst campaign possible.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't matter.
Pat-
Warnock is supposed Christian reverend who loves abortion to 9 months. Georgians are like, who is this loser?
So you got
Patty
3.
Murray's supposedly in trouble in Washington.
That's 4. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I think people are just so angry. The 40 years high of inflation, this madness, the debacle of the people dying in Afghanistan after we hadn't lost someone in 24 months. I mean, people are in a rage at this crew.
Right. Well, I love you, Chris. Thank you so
Brother,
much.
always a joy.
And
So great.
And you have to say Mazel Tov. I became a grandfather, which I know you did, and you did text me.
Hey,
and call me.
Mazel Tov.
Thank you, baby.
It's phenomenal. I'll dedicate part of the book to, give me a name and I'll dedicate the book. And then when I'm on the way to jail, you guys can talk about it.
On the way to jail, you got it. I love you. Bye-bye, Chris.
Ciao. Bye.
We're ending the show. Closing thoughts. Give us your thoughts on November 8th, what you feel, how powerful you feel, and again, scream at us to come out to help you.
Look, we need people. We need just a few hours of your day. A day. Come out during the week. Come out on the weekends. Help us out. It makes a difference. I cannot emphasize it enough. There's a couple of races where I feel it's going to be really tight, and your participation will help flip those districts.
And how do we find you again?
Regime Change for New York. That's REIG.
REGIME. REGIMEFORNY
Thank you.
Okay. So just one question so we leave off.
And I want to ask you one
Best
thing.
case scenario, do we get rid of the supermajority in the state senate?
I do believe we're going to knock it out.
Are we going to be anywhere close in the state assembly?
The assembly, we've got a lot of work to do.
Last thing, what's his name? Kanye West? What's his name?
Kanye.
Idiot or not? Just that's it. That's your answer. Idiot or not?
I watched Tucker Carlson's face while he was interviewing him, and I just like, wow, what's he not showing us? And then later on, he came out.
Ezra, idiot, right?
I don't even think he's worth my. He's worth a second of our show.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to my show.